Hello and welcome to What Moves Us Express,
Or alternatively, what doesn't move us?
a daily podcast throughout this disrupted season
Brought to you from sunny Brighton and
at Nine Elms in London.
Hi, Johannah. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Liam?
Okay, it's been a while since we've spoken on here.
It has been a while. What have we been up to?
Super secret projects.
Secret.
Super secret projects.
Everything we are working on is super secret, isn't it?
I know, it's exciting.
It will be exciting when we can share it, though.
Yes. Now, how is the weather in Brighton today?
It's not the sunshine it has been. It's a bit dull, but we're not getting the rain. My garden needs the rain,
It's
so
been
I
raining,
can.
yeah.
Is it? I don't. I when I saw the weather last night, I haven't looked today. It's sort of like it was touch and go whether it would reach here, and I think it hasn't reached here. I think there was a little shower, which might have gone on one petal or something, but that was about it.
Right.
So I can still go out for my daily exercise.
Now, on the line, we have Simon. Simon, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for inviting me. Absolutely delighted to be here. My name's Simon Brown. I'm the director of a company called Opal Rail. I launched the business in October last year following a 15-year career in banking, corporate banking and structured asset finance.
Cool. Now, first, most important question is, where are you?
So I'm based in just outside Southend-on-Sea in Essex. And much like Johannah I, haven't had much rain, but it's a bit overcast today.
Right.
Not as sunny as it has been.
Well, I'm sure your council will be happy.
How close to the beach are you? You say you're just outside Southend.
About 400 metres.
Oh, so you're a little
not too
bit
bad.
closer than me, because I'm probably about 1,000 metres.
Yeah, now you're in Brighton. I went to university in Brighton, so it's got a special place in my heart.
Oh, well, I'm near Saltdean Lido, if you know
Right.
it. So now everyone's picture, because I've already had somebody saying to me, I can hear seagulls, where are you? So how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. So, it's clearly been an interesting time for the sector and, also for me as an individual and for my new business, but, filled with optimism.
So I think that's interesting. You're filled with optimism, because what did you think on March 23rd, pretty much 6 months into your new business, about the announcement about don't go anywhere, stay at home? What were your immediate thoughts?
Well, I think, when I launched the business in October last year, probably like most other people in the rail sector, we were expecting 2020 to be the year of rail. The Williams Review findings were imminently expected in the autumn, and the expectation that would shake up the industry. Like many things in the rail sector, things haven't quite worked out as planned. We've had a snap general election, Brexit, and now a coronavirus pandemic. The industry is in a very different position. But from a personal perspective, it's given me and hopefully other participants in the rail sector an opportunity to reflect about what the future holds.
So you've actually, sorry, go on there.
Well, no, I was just going to say, what has your reflection told you?
Well, I think the key is that there's a natural tendency in times of uncertainty to just pause and muddle through. There's a general risk aversion across the sector to try new things. In my mind, this is a real opportunity to reflect about the trends that are impacting the sector in the longer term, assessing the ability of my business and other businesses to adapt and respond, and try and build a bit of a medium-term plan as to how you're going to retain a competitive advantage.
So you've actually written about those trends, haven't you? So what do you see those are?
So there's 6 trends that I'll begin to develop further, as I develop the business over time. The first one is clearly the impact on franchising, and the potential impact on a model that has been in place for for a long period of time. The second piece is around disruption to traditional rolling stock and rail infrastructure financing models, which is the second trend. Third is the whole monetization agenda in Europe, liberalization, what that looks like and how companies can adapt and respond. And then, in times of uncertainty, clearly there's an impact on the pricing and availability of capital that companies need to adapt and deliver on their strategic priorities. And I guess the final two areas would be sustainable finance and supporting the green agenda, and digital disruption and technology finance as a theme.
So did you think these were trends before COVID, or have you reflected on them since the current pandemic?
No, I thought these are trends beforehand. The point I was making earlier, that in times where the industry pauses, it's a good opportunity to reflect on what those trends mean for your business in the medium term. So, the core ethos of my business is centered around innovation, doing things differently, challenging conventional thinking. And I think it's a good opportunity for companies to think about what they want to be in the future.
Right. We should clarify, this is actually an ebook you've published, isn't it? And where can people find that?
Yes.
I was going to do that at the end.
Oh, sorry.
It just goes to show we don't rehearse.
You can get your promo. You can get your promo in now. It's all right.
Yeah. So again, this is something that wouldn't have landed unless I'd had some free time, to be honest. So I want to give the sector as much valuable insight as possible as they go on companies go on the journey to develop their strategic plans and raise capital. And so I've written this ebook. It includes a comprehensive guide to strategy development, capital raising, deal execution. It's based on the exact deal lifecycle framework that I follow when I work with clients. There's a series of practical steps companies can take to position their organizations, and importantly, it's completely free. So I'd encourage listeners to make use of it, go to the Opal Rail website and to download a copy.
So why are you giving it away for free?
Well, I think clearly it's an initial level of information into the approach and methodologies that I believe can help companies gain a competitive advantage. And whilst there is a series of practical steps that they can follow to implement those methodologies, more often than not, certain clients require help putting that theory into practice, which is where I can add some value. But for others who want to do it themselves, then it's there as a framework to follow.
And you've got the top 10 questions to ask yourself as well. So there's a self-reflection part in there as well.
Well, certainly on the strategy side, yes, there is a self-reflection piece on trends and the ability of a company to respond and adapt to those trends over time, and looking at strengths and weaknesses and what do your stakeholders need, and what are the strategic moves your competitors are making. Some of those broad brush, high level, deep thinking questions are there, but also on the capital side, making sure that companies have got a agile, responsive and flexible balance sheet, and that their capital structure is optimized. There's some areas in the ebook that address those as well.
And do you sense that now, in let's say the next 6 months, that there will be a lot of activity going on in this field, or do you think that people are sort of just keeping the show running rather than considering these, expansions?
Well, I think probably the biggest impact I've seen is that leaders across the sector have had a very limited bandwidth for anything other than crisis mitigation. And so keeping the rail industry operating has been priority number one. And that has undoubtedly led to project and decision-making delays. But as the industry begins to open up and companies start to think about how they want to position themselves from a competitive positioning perspective, then that will undoubtedly start to accelerate some of the activity. I think the rail industry is renowned for just kind of sticking to the status quo, not really embracing change. There's a general risk aversion in times of uncertainty, but I think it's the really smart organisations that will be acting now, because there will be winners and losers as we come out the other side.
As ever. I'm interested to go back to one of your first trends about the changes in UK franchising, because obviously now Williams is certainly overdating being published.
Yes.
What's your view and what's your advice in sort of like positioning yourself with the uncertainty around franchising and when we will emerge from emergency measures?
Well, obviously it was an initial 6-month emergency measures arrangement, which I would not be surprised if that's extended. I think in terms of the revenue and cost risk being transferred away from the operators, that's something that will remain. Would be my gut feel, and certainly from a corporate perspective, to ask companies to take revenue and cost risk for these type of operations in future will be hard to swallow. In a way, it's a rapid resolution to what was expected anyway around the transition to concession type arrangements. So I think we just need clarity on what the medium-term structure of the industry looks like so that we can move forward.
And that clarity term, when do we think we'll get some?
Well, yeah, I wish I knew. The latest I'd heard is that the Williams review findings would be published before the summer recess. Whether that will happen or whether there'll be further delay, I don't know.
As I keep saying, and I don't think I've ever said in public loudly, I don't think it will ever be published. I think I personally think it has been dead since Chris Grayling left as a rail minister. And they've never found a reason not to publish it, and now they have it. Because who's going to miss it?
We'll see.
Nobody's going to miss it now, are they?
But still, the industry needs certainty so that we can move forward.
It does need
longer-term strategic positioning can actually be a priority for participants in the sector. At the moment, uncertainty drives delays in decision making and general risk aversion. With certainty around what the future looks like, companies can move forward.
So what would in terms of that certainty, and I know obviously we don't have it, and in your paper you put, imagine if you could see the future. How do companies create that certainty? What would be your top tip, apart from hiring you?
Top tips in this ebook, and they're top tips.
Well, clearly the priorities are different, depending on where you operate in the market. If you're an operator running one of these franchises, then it's important to think around, what are your priorities moving forward. The traditional rolling stock and infrastructure financing models that have been in place for several years, I think could do with a refresh. Operators have seen and been using long-term fixed rate leases, fixed rental leases. And I think there's an opportunity to bring some variability into those types of arrangements moving forward, to help provide some variability to the fixed cost base of operators. For manufacturers, I think that there's an opportunity for them to find innovative ways of delivering product to market, and perhaps to take some of that negative cash flow drag away from big rolling stock procurements. And then if you're an SME participating in the supply chain, having the ability to access more advanced corporate finance capabilities and think about how your larger peers are operating can really help.
So I mean, from me, just one final thing before we wrap up. You mentioned about rolling stock procurement, which is, as we know, is a long, drawn out, competitive affair. I mean, and the refinancing of that. How would you do that differently? In term, because I know that's in one of your steps as well, about, or one of the trends in recapitalisation of rolling stock and that.
Yeah, so I think there's a broader opportunity for stakeholders in a rolling stock procurement to get together and to optimise the outcome for the various companies involved. From an operator's perspective, around how they can drive more competition in lease rates. From a manufacturer's perspective, how they can optimise working capital. The old 10% on signature, 25% on design completion isn't necessarily a cash flow that's optimized for their working capital. And from the asset owner's perspective, in whatever form they take, the negative cash flow drag before that asset becomes revenue generating is really something that can be optimized.
So, Liam, have you got any closing remarks?
Would you like to say where the ebook is stored and where people can download it?
Sure. So if you head to the website, which is opalrail.com, there's a viewpoint page where you can enter your details and just download a copy. It will be sent directly to your email account.
Brilliant. We are planning on doing a Rail Innovation Group Munch and Learn session to discuss this in more detail.
Look forward to that.
Yes.
So
are you talking about your ebook on our Munch and Learn, or are you going to be giving us something new?
We'll probably deep dive into some of the methodologies and the approaches that I'd recommend companies follow. So if you like the next level of detail.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Look forward to that. And that's next week, isn't it?
Next week, yes.
Next week on 10th of June.
The day before my birthday. Hint, hint.
Well, you'll have to, if you want cake, you'll have to send me your address, because otherwise I'm just going to eat it in front of you at Munch and Learn. We can have a virtual birthday cake.
No, I'd rather the real one. Right. Thank you very much for joining us, Simon.
Thank you, Simon, and we'll see you next week at Munch and Learn.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time.